Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a deeply fascinating concept from our source material that completely flips the script on how we view workplace leadership and resilience. We so often think of great leaders as people who've just had this incredibly smooth, frictionless, easy path to the top. We imagine they've just naturally glided into their roles. But what if the exact opposite is true? What if the absolute most elite class of crisis leaders, the ones who truly shine when everything hits the fan, are actually forged in the fires of past adversity? Let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this. I really want you to think about the last time something went completely wrong at work. A total, unpredictable breakdown of a project, or maybe a massive shift in the market. Why is it that some leaders completely panic when chaos hits, while others seem to just instantly thrive? It's a real mystery in corporate dynamics. When the path forward gets blurry, most people experience intense anxiety. They basically short circuit. But then there's this rare breed of professional who actually gets sharper when the walls start closing in. So, what's their secret weapon? It all boils down to a cognitive trait called a tolerance for ambiguity. Basically, this is where the brain literally refuses to panic during unpredictable or unclear situations. But here is the truly fascinating part. This trait is restructured by genuine adversity. While a normal brain might completely freeze up when things get muddy, the unbroken mind looks at that exact same ambiguity and sees it as familiar territory. It's not a threat to them. It's an environment they already know exactly how to navigate. And this brilliantly illustrates that we aren't just talking about some vague personality quirk here. This ability is actually the result of a fundamental neurological restructuring. When a person faces extreme stress in their life, their brain's architecture physically changes to ensure survival. It adapts. It becomes incredibly perceptive and highly efficient at processing complex data in really high-stakes environments. It's this profound biological adaptation that ends up paying massive, massive dividends in the boardroom. There's a brilliantly simple way our source material describes this phenomenon, calling it an upgraded mental operating system. I absolutely love that phrasing. It frames recovery from past hardship not as this lingering deficit or permanent vulnerability, but as a deeply empowering, forward-looking transformation. This internal upgrade takes all of that past adversity and converts it into a razor-sharp strategic advantage. It's essentially like downloading the latest, most robust pro-level software update for surviving corporate chaos. So let's look at how this actually plays out in the real world. We'll be exploring 3 specific crisis leadership scenarios today: sudden changes in project parameters, moved, high-pressure deadlines, and maintaining social authenticity under pressure. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast. Imagine a chaotic meeting where the entire scope of a project is just suddenly upended. The standard response for most individuals is to experience a total freeze, because they suddenly lack answers. They just stop processing. But the leader with unbroken intelligence, they remain perfectly composed. While everyone else is reeling from the sudden change, they are instantly, calmly scanning that new environment for fresh threats and hidden opportunities. We see a very similar dynamic when it comes to moved deadlines. If a high-pressure deadline is suddenly shifted forward, a standard team often goes into full-blown survival panic. And let's just validate that right now. That is a completely normal, natural human reaction to workplace stress. But the unbroken mind doesn't react that way at all. To them, those suddenly shifted deadlines are just treated as a navigatable gray area. They maintain a cool, calm processing of all the variables while everyone else's alarm bells are ringing. To put this into perspective, for these individuals, a sudden shift in deadlines is literally just an uncertain Tuesday at work. Because let's be honest, if you have survived absolute, genuine chaos in your personal past, a normal bad day at the office simply does not trigger that same survival-level stress response. You aren't going to lose sleep over an expedited quarterly report when you've navigated true, real-life adversity. The stakes are automatically put into their proper, grounded perspective. Beyond just task and deadline management, though, this mindset profoundly impacts interpersonal dynamics. One of the absolute most fascinating traits of the crisis leader is that they have virtually zero appetite for social performance. During a crisis, there is a ton of pressure to look like a leader, to say the right buzzwords, to play the corporate game and manage optics. But the unbroken leader simply refuses to waste their time curating an artificial image. So the crucial point is, what happens when you drop all those workplace theatrics? You gain the authenticity advantage. Because they aren't wasting precious mental bandwidth performing for others or managing impressions, they can prioritize pure authenticity and survival. This means literally 100% of their mental energy is laser focused on the things that actually matter to the mission. While others are distracted by how they look, the crisis leader is solely focused on how to solve the problem and win. All of these factors we've been talking about, the calm processing, the tolerance for ambiguity, the hyperfocus, they culminate in what is essentially a highly specialized form of emotional intelligence. But notice, this is not the soft, standard emotional intelligence we usually read about in basic business seminars. No, this is survival-based emotional intelligence. It is a profound instinctual ability to read people and situations forged by the absolute necessity of anticipating danger in their past. This unique intelligence allows a leader to walk into a room and instantly understand power dynamics and hidden agendas before a word is spoken. Think about how incredibly valuable that is in a corporate setting. This unique clarity is absolutely essential for navigating unpredictable terrain. They can just feel the unspoken tensions, spot the hidden motives, and map the complex political landscape of a boardroom almost intuitively. Which brings us to a really profound paradigm shift. I kind of want to slow down here for a moment because this completely redefines how we look at resilience. What society so often views as scars from the past, the hardships we're told to hide, the traumas we're told make us fragile, are actually the precise strategic source of this unique sharpness. For these leaders, their past is absolutely not a weakness. It is the very engine of their power and their clarity. This means resilience isn't just about bouncing back to normal, it's about operating on an entirely upgraded level. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to ponder based on the research we've explored today. How will you reframe your own past adversity into your greatest strategic advantage? Challenge yourself to look at the obstacles you faced not as setbacks, but as the very training ground that built your unbroken mind. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.